That is why we cannot waste any time. Okay. We did the electrolytic conductance, right? We ended up with molar conductance and then a problem. Now write the topic factors affecting the electrolytic conductance. Factors affecting electrolytic conductance. Oh, that's great, Abhi. Assalamu alaikum, Mariam. When did you reach home today?
Sir, I reached early. I was eating.
You reached
Sorry.
early.
Yeah.
Fine. Factors affecting the electrolytic conductance. Now, whenever we have electrolytic conductance, we will have ions, right? A cation and an anion. Now, if those cation and anion, they start interacting, for example, they will have ionic interaction. So if ionic interaction between them, it increases. If ionic interaction increases, then what will happen? The conductance. So if ionic interaction increases, that means the positively charged cation, negatively charged anion, they are having some interaction that is attractive interaction. That means it will hinder their movement. Yes or no? If I have positive and negative charges, they are interacting. That means they are attracted towards each other. It means they will have hindrance in the movement. They cannot move as freely as possible. Yes or no? No? Yes? Anyone? What do you think, Abir? What would happen? Yes, Abir.
Yes, sir. What? Can you repeat the question, sir?
What would happen? I'm asking if positive and negative charges, they are being attracted with each other. Okay, they are attracted with each other. And there is this positive and negative charges, which are not having influence over each other. Which can move faster, the case A or the case B?
Sir, case A.
Case A?
Yes, sir. Because they
What
are
about? Because they are?
attracting each other.
No, in the water, I am saying from point 1 to point 2. If I have case A, that means positive and negative charges, these are attractive towards each other. No? So the positive charge will hold the negative charge. And if it is holding the negative charge, that means it will not let it move from point 1 to point 2. But whereas in case B, what will happen? These are not influencing each other. That means positive charge is not holding the negative charge. And the negative charge can easily go from point 1 to point 2. So whenever we are talking about electrolytic conductance, we are charging about the movement of the positive ions and the negative ions. Okay, so if ionic interaction it will increase, then what would happen? Then the conductance would decrease because the mobility will decrease. Okay, because the mobility will decrease. You cannot move if someone is holding you, so conductance will decrease. You got it? It is not about the positive charge moving towards the negative charge. It is not that positive and negative charge particles, they are moving towards each other. That movement is not in question. The question is regarding the movement from point 1 to point 2. Just wait. Okay, sorry for that. Next is viscosity of medium. Viscosity of the medium, it will increase. If viscosity of medium will increase, then again the positive and negative charges, they will be having some difficulty in moving, right? Now think about dropping viscosity. How can you measure that? Think about dropping a kind of small particle like stone in water, and think about dropping the same thing in honey. What do you think? In which of the cases, A or B, the movement of the particle will be faster, in water or in honey?
Sir, in water.
in water, na? And which is more viscous? Honey is more viscous. So if viscosity of the medium increases, the mobility will decrease and hence conductance will also decrease. Conductance will also decrease, okay? Now, right, the third point. The third point is solvation or hydration of ions. A solvation or hydration of ion, it just means that if you have Li plus in water, then what will happen? This Li plus will be attracted by the oxygens in water like this. Okay, and this Li plus will be surrounded by plethora of water molecules, and that will hinder the movement of Li plus ions. Okay, so this is solvation. Solvation just means the interaction of the solvent molecule with the solute molecule, and majority of the times the solvent is water, and when it is water, the interaction of oxygen with the cation positively charged and of the hydrogen with the negatively charged. Now, let us see what is the effect of size here. If I have, for example, LiCl, NaCl, KCl, RBCl, and CSCl, then if I go from top to bottom in a group, this is the first group element. Now here the size is increasing. Now if the size increases, the hydration decreases, because obviously oxygen is second period, hydrogen is first period element. Now these will be interacting very effectively with LiCl, NaCl, and somewhat to the extent of KCl. But the interaction of second period elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 period element of the rubidium and the 6th period of cesium, it won't be very much effective. And that is why the hydration decreases. Now, if the hydration will decrease, what would happen? The conductance would increase. Hydration decreases, that means not much water molecules will be interacting with the cations, and if not much water molecules are interacting with the cations, the cation can move easily. So if size increases, the hydration decreases and the conductance increases. Now, it is a bit of counterintuitive, because you would think that Li plus will move faster than Cs plus. But that is not the case, because we have a medium, and that medium there is water, and water is interacting effectively with Li plus. Now, when we see the solvated Li plus is something like this. We have a lot of, I'm making this type of triangle. It just means these are water molecules, okay? Because we have oxygens here, na? So this is the complete picture. So rather than the Li plus, which is so small, this is Li plus. But the hydrated Li pluses, you can see the size difference here, right? You can see the size difference here. Li plus is very large. Li plus, which is solvated, it is very large, and hence it is difficult for this Li plus solvated molecule to move. Okay, so this is solvation and hydration of ions. Just let me know if you are done writing. Then we will move to the fourth point, that is of dilution, effect of dilution. Now, in general, you can write the fourth point of dilution. Dilution is something that you have to study in detail. Dilution. So, as dilution increases, what will happen? Conductance will also increase, okay? We'll look at the cases of concentrated and the dilute one, strong electrolyte and the weak electrolyte on dilution, what happens to them. First, write these points, 4 points. Then we will look on detail for dilution. Raise your hand if you're done. Done. Waiting for Abir and Sania.
So, sir, this statement is not true. Li plus is faster than CS plus.
This is not true. This is not true. You would think that,
Okay,
but it
sir.
is just the opposite. Okay. Now, Li plus can be faster if it is only Li plus, but if it is Li plus in some medium, for example, aqueous Li plus, and then we are comparing with CS aqueous, then CS aqueous will be more faster. Right. So let us see for dilution. We said that as dilution increases, the conductance also increases. You can lower your hands now. So for strong electrolyte, what happens? For strong electrolyte. Now, if it is strong electrolyte, that means all the ions have been dissociated in the water. All the ions have been dissociated in the water. For example, it is NaCl. Okay. Now, whenever you mix salt in water, what happens? Salt will not remain, right? There is no salt in them. You will have Na plus ions and Cl negative ion. Now, if you would have salt, then it would be precipitated in the water glass, but it is not precipitated. That means all the NaCl has been dissociated into Na plus and Cl negative. Now, for the strong electrolyte for NaCl, what would happen if we increase the dilution? As dilution increases, now think about it like this. We have a case where there is only 200 ml of water, okay, and there are 2 moles of NaCl. Okay, this is case A. Think about the interaction of Na plus and Cl negative. Wouldn't they be bumping very much in this type of container where there is only 200 ml of water and 2 moles of NaCl? Now, with the same case, we have the concentration same and we then diluted it. So when we diluted it, we had to increase the water. And here it is, let us say, 1000 ml. And here it is 2 mole of NaCl because we have not changed the concentration of the solute. We have just added more water. Now, in which of the case A or B, will the Na plus and Cl negative move freely? In which of the case will the Na plus ions and the Cl negative ions move freely? Case A or B? Yes, Abir is right. What about others? Fatima, Mariam, Nazira, Sania. In which case A or B? In which case the Na plus and Cl negative would move freely, or rather more freely? Yes. Sanya, can you explain why did you say A? Yes, Sanya, can you? Or you just guessed it? Okay. Just a guess. Okay. So see, in the case A, what would happen? You have only 200 ml, right? So you can imagine something like there is a small room. There is a house with only one room. There are 5 people, and then there is a house. The house sizes has increases, and there is 10 room, and there are still 5 people. Now think of it like this: if there is only one room and 5 people, so for those 5 people cannot move freely. And here also there are two moles of NaCl and only 200 ml. Here there are same number of NaCl, but the volume has increased. Similarly, when the rooms will increase, the people will move more freely, right? So in case B, what will happen? They will move more freely. Now, if something is moving more freely, that means the mobility is high, and hence, first thing is that interaction will become low in strong electrolyte. Ion-ion interaction will decrease. And if ion-ion interaction decreases, what would happen? The conductance will increase. The conductance will increase. Now, for weak electrolyte. Now, for strong electrolyte, NaCl dilution increases. Yeah. For weak electrolyte. So for weak electrolyte, what happens? The degree of dissociation, the degree of dissociation increases with increase in dilution. Okay. Now, for this, you can even have an example from the strong electrolyte. The thing is that you must. Did you go to lab? Anyone went to lab this year?
We
Till
will
now?
we'll go next
You will
week.
go next week. Okay. Okay, next week. So we cannot wait for next week, but now. So let us say you have water. You have water, some water here. Okay. Now, in the same amount of water, you added some glucose. Okay. Let us say 1 spoon. And here also you added 1 spoon. What do you think in case A or case B? In which of the case it will mix properly? Case A or B? Yes, Mariam.
Sir, can you repeat?
In which of the case will the glucose mix properly?
Case A.
A, na? So yes, Abir, I saw. Okay. Fatima, yes, correct. A case. Now, similarly, what happened? That means when we diluted it, more number of electrolytes were present. Okay. Now, since also, please remember, glucose is not an electrolyte. But if you think about electrolytes, you can have any other kind of electrolyte also, and it will also follow the same thing, that if you dilute it, what will happen? The degree of dissociation will increase, and it will get solvated more easily. So degree of dissociation increases with dilution, and hence more number of ions can participate in electrolytic conductance. Right? More number of ions will be available to carry the charges from one place to another, and that is why the electrolytic conductance will increase if we increase the dilution. So what happens as dilution increases? the alpha, that is degree of dissociation, increases, and hence what happens? Conductance also increases. Please copy this, raise your hand if you're done.
Sir, as dilution increases,
Alpha increases, alpha, degree of dissociation. If you will look at the electrolytes slide now, the notes, electrolytes, in that we have discussed about alpha. Alpha is what? Alpha is less than 1 for weak electrolytes. So I guess everyone is done. Okay, great. You can lower your hands now. Now we will look at the effect of dilution on the molar conductance. Okay, effect of dilution on the molar conductance. Effect of dilution on molar conductance. What is the formula for molar conductance? That is lambda m. This is capital lambda m is equal to K into 1000 divided by the molarity. Correct? Divided by the molarity. This is the formula. Yes, guys.
yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now here what is happening? As dilution increases, what will happen? Volume of solution will increase. Correct? Volume of solution will increase. Any doubt till here? No doubt, na? Molarity is what? Number of moles divided by the volume in liters. Now, if volume is increasing, what will happen? The molarity will decrease. So if volume of solution will increase, the molarity will decrease. And if molarity is decreasing, what will happen to lambda m? Mariam, what would happen to lambda m if the molarity is decreasing?
It will increase.
Yeah, very good. So lambda m will increase. Okay. We put this here so you can remember the relationship between the molarity and the volume. Okay. What about conductivity? What will happen to the conductivity? What is conductivity? It is the conductance of 1 centimeter cube solution. Conductance of 1 centimeter cube solution. Now, when what will happen? Dilution increases. The number of solute per 1 centimeter cube of solution decreases. The number of solute per 1 centimeter of solution, it will decrease because we have increased the dilution. Now, whatever the solution was, whatever the solute was present for say 1 centimeter cube means 1 ml. Okay. So for if we have 200 ml and we had 2 mole, right? So we can say that 200 by 2, this will be equal to 1 by 10. Yeah. No, 1 by 100. 1 by 100, right? Yeah, 1 by 100. So we can say that 0.01 mole of solute was present for each ml of solution. 0.0 mole of solute was present for each ml of solution. But when we increase to, let us say, 400 ml, what will happen? This will become half, and this will be equal to what? 0.01 by 2, right? 0.01 by 2, this will be equal to 0.005. Now the number of moles per 1 centimeter cube of solution, it has decreased, and if it will decrease, the conductance will also decrease. Therefore, as dilution increases, conductivity decreases. And you can also say conductance per unit volume decreases. Okay. Remember this also. Okay. Always remember this, conductance per unit volume decreases. That is why conductivity is also decreasing on dilution. If Fatima is done. Sorry, I missed that. All right. Molar conductance at infinite dilution. At infinite dilution. First of all, we have a small formula here, a small equation that gives you the relationship between the molar conductance and the concentration. Before that, you have to understand a term which is the limiting molar conductance. No matter how much we decrease the molarity or if you dilute it, the lambda m or the molar conductance will keep on increasing and it will keep on increasing, but it will have a certain limit up to which it can increase, right? Up to which it can increase. And that limit is known as the limiting molar conductance, and it is given by lambda m naught. Okay, it is given by lambda m naught. So limiting molar conductance is given by lambda, sorry, not small lambda, the uppercase lambda naught and m. Okay, so we'll reach lambda m naught when the molarity is approaching to 0, or we can say the dilution is infinite, or we can also say the molarity or the concentration is reaching to 0, and then whatever limit it will have, that will be the limiting molar conductance. Limiting molar conductance, it is the molar conductance at infinite dilution or at 0 concentration. Or at 0 concentration. Okay, this is lambda m naught. Now there is a equation which is given by Debye-Heckel on Sanger equation. It says that the lambda m at any particular molarity is equal to the lambda m naught, that is the limiting molar conductance, minus b, which is a Debye constant, into the root of concentration, So this is your molar conductance. This is your limiting molar conductance. This is Debye constant. And this is concentration in molarity. It is the concentration in molarity. Okay. Now the next thing is the graph. Now, this is also one point that you can write. It is applicable for only strong electrolytes. Okay. Now we can say that lambda m and this is lambda m naught. We can draw a graph between the lambda m and the root of c So y is equal to, let us say, mx, and this is c, mx plus c, right? Y is equal to mx plus c. If we have that equation, what is y here? The y is lambda m. The c here is root c. What is the m? Yes, Mariam, what is the m? You can compare these two. Y is equal to, this is x, so here it will be m, and this will be c, right? This will be c. So y, obviously, because this should be in the equation for just the m is equal to minus of b root c and plus of lambda naught m. Okay, so from here we can see that minus b is the slope, and since it is negative, we will have a negative slope, something like this. Okay, something like this. And then you can also trace this. This point is the lambda naught m. Okay, so please copy this. You guys must have read this equation, na? Y is equal to mx plus c. Mariam, Abir, Fatima,
Yes, sir.
anyone?
Straight line
Yes.
equation.
Straight line equation, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Physics में तो बहुत आता है. It's very frequent in physics, yeah. Raise your hand if you're done. Mariam, Nazira, and Sania.
Sir, that is on Sagar.
Yeah, on Sagar.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, yes, divide Hakal on Sagar equation. It was Sania now. Okay, so Sania is also done. And there was one scientist called Roche. Roche was studying the limiting molar conductance of different electrolytes. He was studying the limiting molar conductance of different electrolytes. Okay, and what he observed was that if we have the difference of a few, if we have a difference, for example, you take the limiting molar conductance of, let us say, NaCl. I think it is KCl minus, yeah, KCl, and subtract this with NaCl. This was found to be equal to the limiting molar conductance of KBr minus the limiting molar conductance of NaBr. This was found to be equal to the limiting molar conductance, difference of the limiting molar conductance of Ki and NaI. Okay. Now from all these equivalency, and this was found to be equivalent to, what I can guess is that shayad 24 or something. Okay, 24 Siemens per centimeter square or something. 23 or 24 or something. But this was equivalent. This was equal for all of them. If I take the limiting molar conductance of KCl, subtract this by NaCl, the difference of KBr and NaBr, the difference of Ki and NaI, all these were equivalent. So he said that let us do one thing. let us say that this limiting molar conductance is made up of individual independent lambda of K plus, and this is made up of lambda of Cl negative. Okay. If I minus this with lambda of Na positive, since Na will have also the lambda of Cl negative, right? It is like this. If I remove the brackets from here, this will become negative. Okay. So I hope you are fine with these two. Then this will be lambda of K plus minus the lambda of Na plus. And similarly here, if I take the K plus and Br negative and Na plus and Br negative, then Br negatives and Br negatives can cancel out each other. And this will also give you lambda K plus minus lambda Na plus. Here also you will get lambda K plus minus lambda Na plus. Now, the way these all were getting equivalent, these all were same, the differences were same, he said that then definitely something like this would have been happening, that a particular electrolyte, the particular electrolyte can be now written as the independent ions. The limiting molar conductance of a particular electrolyte can now be written as the limiting molar conductance of its ions independently. So from it, he got a law, and that law was known as Colrausch law. SCH, I guess. Law of independent migration. So it states that molar conductivity of an electrolyte at infinite dilution is sum of individual molar conductance at infinite dilution of the cation and anion. It means to say, if I have lambda m naught of NaCl, that would mean this will be equal to the lambda naught of Na plus the lambda naught of Cl negative. Similarly, if I have lambda m of KCl, this would be equal to lambda naught of K plus the lambda naught of Cl negative. Now, if I have, for example, let us say lambda naught of m of MgBr2, then this will be lambda naught of Mg2 plus there are two bromine, na? So lambda of Br negative plus lambda naught of Br negative. We can add these two Br negatives. Just put this above here. So this will be equal to lambda naught of Mg2 plus 2 into lambda naught of 2 into lambda naught of Br negative. So please write this Colrausch law of independent migration. Only Mariam is done. Abir, Fatima, Nazira, you guys are not done?
Just a second, sir.
Writing.
Okay. Just waiting for Abir now. Okay. So in general, what you can say in general, you can also write. Please write this with me. In general, if an electrolyte dissociates and gives V plus cations. V plus means this V plus would be a number. For example, MgBr2, it is giving what? MgBr2 is giving one cation and it is giving two anions. So V plus cations, that means one cation. And rather not V, it is mu anions, mu negative anions. Then the lambda naught M of that particular electrolyte would be equal to the number of cations given on dissociation into the limiting molar conductance of that cation plus mu negative, that is the number of anions given after dissociation into the limiting molar conductance of that anion. This is negative sign. Okay. From here, we will do a question. Please write this question with me. Lambda naught M for NaCl, HCl, and NaAC, sodium acetate. These are given as 126.4, 126.4, and then you have 425.9 and 91. All 9.1, not 91. All these are in Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. These are the limiting molar conductance of sodium chloride. Then you have HCl and sodium acetate. You have to calculate lambda naught M for acetic acid, which is HAC. It's acetic acid. So write this question. Let me know when you are done, okay, writing this question. Waiting for Fatima and Sania. Okay. So we have been asked to calculate the lambda naught M for HAC, right? That is acetic acid. So this will be equal to the lambda naught, sorry, not lambda naught, rather it would be small lambda naught of H plus the lambda naught of AC negative. Any doubt till here, guys?
No, sir.
Any doubts till here? No doubt, no? Okay. Now let me just write those values. NaCl is how much, Abir? The lambda naught M of NaCl?
126.4.
126.4. And after that, we have HCl, na? HCl is how much?
425.9.
425.9. And we have NaAC. This
91.
is equal to how much? 91. Okay. Now, we will have to rearrange these particular electrolytes and their ions in such a way that we get lambda naught H plus lambda naught AC negative. Okay. So for NaCl, what I can write? For NaCl, I can write it as is equal to the lambda naught of Na plus minus, sorry, Na plus the lambda naught of Cl negative. We can write HCl as the lambda naught of H plus the lambda naught of Cl negative. Now for NaAC, we can write this as lambda naught of H plus Na plus the lambda naught of AC negative. Okay, any doubts still here?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Please listen very carefully, okay? Please listen very carefully. We will start with each of these items, the species. You will tell me about Na positive. Is Na positive there in the equation? The desired equation. We have this desired equation. Now this is the desired equation, okay? We have to put H plus and AC negative. So you have to tell me, is Na plus there in that equation? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No. Is Cl negative in the equation?
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. Very good. Now, if Na positive and Cl negative, if both the things are not there, please listen very carefully. If both the things are not there, then you will subtract this from the others. Okay. As you can see in the others, we have HCl. In HCl, we have H plus, which is present. So HCl will be positive. And in NaAC, we have AC, which is present. So we'll have NaAC as positive. Now, please see if I write it like this. If I write something like this, let us have lambda naught of NaAC. Okay, this will be positive plus the lambda naught of HCl. Okay, then minus the lambda naught of NaCl. If you have any one of them also, then you will put it as positive. Otherwise, this will be negative, and hence I have written it in red. Okay. Now, what is NaAC? NaAC is equal to lambda naught of Na plus the lambda naught of AC. Lambda naught of HCl is lambda naught of H plus the lambda naught of Cl negative minus. For NaCl, I have two items, that is why lambda naught of Na plus minus the lambda naught of Cl negative. Okay, plus the Cl negative. Now, here we can say that if I remove these brackets, if I remove this bracket and this bracket, what will happen? This plus sign will get converted into negative sign. Yes. Does everyone agree with this statement till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from here, lambda naught Na positive, this is negative sign, and here it is positive sign. We can cancel these two. We can also cancel the Cl negatives and the Cl negatives from here, and whatever is remaining is what we have remaining, lambda naught AC plus lambda naught H plus. Is that right? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can also say that this whole thing here is equal to this lambda naught AC plus lambda naught H plus, right? These things are equal, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we needed to find this lambda naught M, so we can directly write lambda naught M of HAC is equal to the lambda naught of NaCl plus the lambda naught of HCl minus the lambda naught of, sorry, not NaCl, here it should be NaAC, and here it should be NaCl, right? So let us calculate this. NaAC is being given as 91 plus HCl has been given as 425.9. So NaCl has been given as 126.4. Calculate this and tell me the answer. Whatever you answer get, it will be in Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. Any answer? Okay, I see one answer. Yes. Calculate this and tell me the answer. $390.5. Yes, I guess that is right. Okay. So you just need to write this statement, and then you can write a remark and on the problem solving regarding the Colruy's law of independent dilution. In this, you have to do what? Add the lambda naught of all electrolytes if they have any one species of interest, then subtract lambda naught of all electrolytes if they don't have any species of interest. You understand what is a species of interest, right? Here the species of interest are H plus and AC negative, correct? Here the species of interest are H plus and AC negative. Any electrolyte which contains either H plus or AC negative will be added, and if there is an electrolyte which does not contain either H plus or AC negative will be subtracted. Yes? Did everyone get this? How to solve? If you have any problem regarding the Colruy's law, any question on Colruy's law, you can solve it now, right? Mariam, Abir, Fatima, Sania, Nazira.
Yes, sir.
So let me know if you're done, and we will be done for the class also. In the next class, we will do the Faraday's law. So I guess, officially the chapter is almost complete. In the next class, we can do a few more questions and touch upon the Faraday law of electrolysis. Is this chapter done in your school?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, according to the syllabus, the products of electrolysis this is not in the syllabus. Okay, but let me know if they teach you in your school. Then we can learn that also. That is, electrolytic cell is not present in the syllabus, and products of electrolysis is a topic inside that topic. Are you guys done writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, fine. So let us leave now. So the short class, 1 hour. On Saturday we will start at 4, and then we will end at, no, not 4 for